Well, good morning, folks. Welcome to another absolutely gorgeous, beautiful morning here on the farm. I tell you, I'm some kind of sore today. Whew. Getting on and off the tractor yesterday, pounding all them fence posts. Must have been up and down there at least 100 times. Probably closer to 1,000. I kind of lost count right around 5 or 6. Anyways, yeah, the old hammies are cramping up this morning, but I gotta shut the water off. We had the sprinkler running over in the chicken pen all night long. I'm just walking gingerly through the rock garden here, making sure I don't trip and land on my face. But yeah, so we've had I shouldn't say next to nothing. We've had absolutely no grass recovery, except in the areas where we've had sprinklers set up during the heat wave to keep the chickens and the other animals cool. Out in the main pastures where the cows run, zero grass recovery at all, which is very worrisome, because we can usually go late October, early November, and then they come off pasture. And this year we're seeing first week of July, we're out of grass. So that's scary. So we're hoping for more rain, and then we're hoping that grass does liven up and get going here. But anyways, what we did last night, like I said, we just set up the sprinkler over here in the chicken enclosure. Call it an enclosure. It's not really an enclosure. It's more just to keep the dogs out. But put some water to this, and then hopefully that grass will grow, and then these chickens can still partake of some grass. The whole concept of pasture poultry is that grass is a staple of their diet. And unfortunately, with no moisture, and we come through a big scorching heat wave, we're finding is that the grass wasn't growing to begin with, and then once they eat it, there's just nothing coming back. So I made a nice healthy puddle here all night long. Nice big one. There's another one on the other side of the chicken tractor from the other day. So the heat of the day should spur things on, and give it 2 or 3 days, we should see this look like a nice green carpet. There's the rooster over there. Boy, he's been a gem, let me tell you. I'm questioning whether or not we should keep him. I've always heard that, if some folks, they say, well, I can't keep my rooster because, he's so noisy, and I live in town, or I live in an acreage, and we're only allowed to have so many types of animals, and bylaw says we can't keep a rooster. Well, we're way out in the county, and we live on a large enough plot of land that nobody's telling us we can't keep a rooster. But at 4:30 in the morning, when he starts doing that, every minute on the minute, it gets to be a bit much. Now, I'm not one for crow collars or rooster collars or anything like that, because I think, the animal is what the animal is. See, there you go. Set your clock by it. Anyways, we're gonna be butchering these meat chickens here very shortly. And I think if he makes it through the day, he's gonna be one lucky rooster, because I don't mind getting up early in the morning, but at 4:30, not a big fan. So I've just got the feed for the chickens here. I'm about to go feed them. I did dump a batch just so they would leave me alone for a second there, but I just wanted to mention what we're doing with the feed here. So we soak this feed overnight. This is all locally grown grains that we get from Bloom Enterprises. So it's wheat, barley, peas, oats, and some canola. And we fill up 2/3 of a bucket, like a 5-gallon bucket, and then fill that bucket with water. Now, a couple reasons we do that. I'll pour more than a couple. The biggest one is digestibility. So by soaking the feed, it makes it that much more digestible. The chickens get much more of the nutrients out of the actual grain that they do eat. Second is reduced feed wastage, and that's a huge one, right? So not only are they not wasting it because they can't grab a piece and then toss it out of the way because it's all stuck together like a porridge, but also all the finer particles, like the dusty stuff that would potentially possibly be lost, ends up on the floor of the chicken house or scattered around your feeder or wherever it might be. Now they eat it. right? So it reduces that a lot, and the cost of that, right? So what you see with that when you soak your feed is that you pretty much instantly cut your feed costs down by about 25%. And because I mean, if you know yourself, right? If you're hungry and you have a drink of water, quite often you're not hungry anymore, right? And so you find the same with chickens, is because if they're eating wet feed, they're drinking less water later on in the day, and they're also wasting a lot less feed because they're not just, you know, eating for the sake of eating, when really they should be having a drink of water because they're staying hydrated with this. Now, what we're doing during the summertime is we feed directly on the ground. We feed in a feeder in the wintertime, or on really poor rainy days during the summer. Or I shouldn't say during the summer, but maybe, you know, transitional times. I won't really call it spring and fall a season here. It's more like a, you know, a 10-day period. But wintertime is dry feed, just because this will freeze, obviously, and not be enjoyable for anybody. But during the summer, why not get them outside, right? Have a picnic. They love it. They've never been happier than they are right now. And so this encourages them also to do surface tilling, right? Because chickens like to scratch and dig and look for goodies and treats. So this encourages them to do that. And so we know, as part of a soil conservation project that we've been working on here for quite some time, that we have poor soil conditions here. It's some very, very dense clay, and things have a very hard time growing in it. Now, clay is really good at retaining moisture, but if that water hits the clay and then runs off, it doesn't matter how big your sponge is. If it's just running off, it's not doing anything for you. So with the chickens helping to till and aerate and work organic material into the surface layer, that's then encouraging worms to come up and create worm castings, that then we can create aerated soil with more organic material than we had before, and hopefully build the soil. Come on, chickens, come get your breakfast. Good morning, piggies. Oh boy, hey, you have some table manners. I don't know why those piggies got to be so rude to each other so early in the morning, but anyways, it looks like they definitely wanted their breakfast. For their supper tonight, I think they're going to get some greens. Just look at the garden. The garden is looking pretty good. I shouldn't say the whole garden. The potato patch is looking really good. But in amongst all of that green, there is quite a few weeds, some hogweed, some stinkweed. There's a little bit of bindweed, some mayweed, all kinds of weeds. And I got to get in here with a wheelbarrow and spend some time and just do some cleaning up. And you know, yesterday I visited a guy that was burning all his weeds, and I said, wow, there's a better way to do that, right? Reduce the fire hazard, not make a bunch of stinky smoke. Just feed it to the pigs. They love it. Well, here we are at 10 o'clock at night. Still gorgeous out for an evening. I'm just closing this gate here. Carmen looks like she moved all the horses into some of the smaller pens. Got some pretty fat horses that need to be on a diet, so I think her plan there is to put them in the smaller pens and just let them out for a couple hours at a time to graze, so they don't just burn off all the grass that we don't have and put on a bunch of weight, and then have to deal with, you know, hoof health and all that stuff that goes with it. Because that Millie, that little brown miniature one, little brown and white miniature one, that's something, she's already here for that exact reason. So horses, I tell you, hay burners and make work projects. That's really all they are. But no, I really actually came out here just to finish off evening chores. As you know, as we all know, I have a wonderful wife, and she did most of the chores actually for me, so I don't have much to do. She said she fed the pigs. I'm just gonna check in here and see if she fed them any greens. Earlier today, she was in the garden. She did a whole bunch of weeding, got some big piles of weeds apparently. So I just wanted to peek in and see if, yeah, no greens. That's fine. That's fine. We'll load up the wheelbarrow tomorrow sometime and dump them over some veggies for him to clean up. Well, she said they were 2 big piles, but actually 2 kind of little piles. Maybe, I don't know, there's a third one over there. We'll fill 1 wheelbarrow, so that'll get them through breakfast in the morning. So that's what I'll do early. I'll get up, I'll dump these in the wheelbarrow, haul them over there, and they can have some greens for breakfast with their barley. Just over at the trampoline here, I found one of Charlotte's sandals laying on the ground. And of course, do you think I could find the other one? No? I have a really good idea where it's at. It's probably wherever the dog took it and chewed on it for a half an hour. I'll go find this. Anyways, that's not for you guys to worry about, so I better go inside and fix up a cup of tea after I find this other sandal. So I'll let you go for now. I hope you have a fantastic evening. We'll see you tomorrow. As predicted, halfway across the yard, soggy, chewed on. Looks like it's still in one piece. Anyhow, I'll let you go for real now. Talk to you tomorrow.